So there's no one easy way to chronologically summarize the glut of 2D animation as a whole. It's by far the most ubiquitous and long-lasting technique in many forms. From cutout to cells to some forms of stop motion, there haven't really been a targeted stop or start point in mind for the flattest works. Obviously, these 2D pieces are some of the most prolific and impactful pieces throughout the entire organization, but it was not an immediate change. Adaptations from the initial war effort were tough to swallow, but many an innovator came out of those efforts. The 50s and 60s gave rise to some of the most important creators in the animated NFB sphere. Even whilst being perpetually tethered to educational fare, its growing glut of artists were able to divine a variable smorgasbord of styles from a whole slew of topics and themes. Films that connected with human experience could be palpable and raw, even as just simple cartoons. The social commentary embedded within challenged existing expectations for how far they were willing to go. Whether as simple works or long, sprawling pieces, there was room anywhere and everywhere to expand outward. International collaborations and other team-ups expanded the organization's horizons. From the UNICEF collabs to the exploration from the artists of the Eastern Bloc, the worldly experiences of its staff contributed to how everybody else would see the Canadian, and by extension, the human experience. Whether portrayed as a hopeful prediction of the future or a grim cautionary tale, there was always other avenues to explore and new brains to pick. Even films in the form of the ancient folk song adaptations were able to captivate the hearts and minds of people everywhere. Though its budget never increased too substantially, there was always a point through an artist or a film that put them on top of the world. Dozens of award nominations flooded in during every era that pushed them towards the more experimental. As previously addressed, Quebecois artists are certainly ahead of the curve, but they were not the only ones. Whichever offshoot you visited, there was always a diamond in the rough. If there would be anything that helped bring out the best in Studio A, it would be the united front to test the boundaries and experiment with new moods and mediums. History was not always kind to this bastion of an institution, and it still kinda isn't, but the people inside were always able to turn it around and bounce back twice as hard as pushed. From the most crowded cities to the widest of prairies, the influence that the artists had on Canadian animation is a wide tapestry of history, innovation, passion, and culture. An ideal melting pot of many qualities they look to ignite in Canadians from that first war assignment. But as always, there's more than meets the eye.